Welcome to the Deep Dive, brought to you by the 1 Hour Guide by Anil Nathu. Every session, we take a stack of sources shared by one of you, our listeners, and dig into the most important insights and ideas.
Think of it as getting a shortcut to being truly well-informed on a topic that matters to you.
For this deep dive, we're exploring excerpts from the book Solve for Happy, Engineer Your Path to Joy by Mo Gawdat.
Yeah, an incredible book. Our mission today is really to unpack its core message, understand Mo's own journey, which is quite something.
Absolutely. And look at the practical strategies he offers, because he really does offer concrete steps for, well, finding enduring joy.
He does. And his starting point is fascinating because Mo Gawdat, from the outside, he had it all. Big tech career, IBM, Microsoft.
Right, the kind of success people dream of. Wealth, recognition.
Exactly. But he describes himself as being, what, deeply unhappy during that peak time.
That's the paradox, isn't it? He talks about living in Dubai, surrounded by incredible wealth, but it just made him feel less than compared to his friends.
Yeah, that comparison trap. It just fueled this constant striving.
So instead of looking inward, he doubled down on the external.
Right. Day trading, buying expensive cars like vintage Rolls Royces, thinking that would be the answer.
Accumulating more stuff.
But it just didn't work, didn't change how he felt inside.
And it affected his personality too, right? He felt he became pushy, maybe unpleasant.
Yeah, he mentions not being really present for his family, being consumed by this chase.
It's easy to fall into that, believing the next thing is the key.
Totally. He actually had this moment with his mother. She'd always told him, work hard, get secure, find happiness, citing an old proverb.
Then he went back to her.
He did. Basically said, okay, Mom, I did all that. Where's the happiness? Powerful moment.
Wow. Realizing the script maybe wasn't right, but then things took a really tragic turn with his son, Ali.
Yes. Just an incredibly sad event. But the way Mo talks about Ali, even in those last distressing moments in hospital, Ali apparently just radiated love, positivity.
That must have left such a mark.
Profoundly. So afterwards, grappling with this immense grief, Mo kept asking himself, what would Ali do now?
And it felt like he heard Ali's voice.
Kinda, yeah. Offering this simple advice. Kalas ya papa. It's over, Dad, essentially. Or make the best of it.
Make the best of it. Even then, that's huge.
It was the catalyst. He figured if a happiness model could work through that, it had real power. It could help others.
So the book isn't claiming constant bliss, but a working model.
Exactly. He's clear he's not happy 214/7. Who is? But he found a system, an engineer's approach, that consistently brings him back to joy.
And it starts with an equation. Very fitting.
Yep, the core formula. Happiness is greater than or equal to events minus expectations.
Happiness events expectations. Okay.
So if life's events meet or beat your expectations, you're happy. If they fall short, unhappiness.
Simple, but the key seems to be managing those expectations.
Precisely, which leads to his big claim. Our default state, our sort of factory setting, is actually happiness.
It's like babies and toddlers, before life piles on expectations.
Exactly. They find joy in almost anything, unless basic needs aren't met. Even in tough situations, kids find ways to be happy.
Which challenges that whole idea that you need success first.
Right. He cites studies, like the one showing well-being kind of plateaus around $70 a K income in the U.S. More money doesn't automatically equal more happy beyond a certain point.
And it might even work the other way around. Being happy helps success.
There's evidence for that. Like the University of Warwick study, happier people were something like 12% more likely to get ahead.
Interesting. So focus on happiness and success might follow, rather than the other way around.
It flips the usual script.
Okay, so foundation laid. Happiness equation, default state is happy. But if events are often out of our control, we need to work on expectations. How? That leads to the first illusion he tackles. Thought.
Yes, the illusion of thought. This is fundamental. Gawdat says that constant chatter in your head, that inner voice, it's not really you.
Not me. What is it then?
It's just a brain process, like your brain talking to itself. Psychologists noted that neuroimaging seems to back it up. Inner speech is often internalized outer speech.
Feels weird to think of it as separate.
It does. But think about the brain's main job, survival. It evolved to spot threats quickly.
Like the hunter hearing rustling leaves. React first, ask questions later.
Exactly. Speed over accuracy.
Yeah.
This creates a negativity bias, a constant stream of often negative thoughts. Psychic entropy, some call it. It's always building this safe model which is usually based on fear, not reality.
And that's where suffering comes from. Not the event, but my thoughts about it.
That's the argument. Suffering happens when we take an event, say, someone's rude, turn it into a negative thought, hold on to it, let it upset us, if the thought goes.
The suffering goes too. Okay, but how do you make the thought go? They just seem to pop up.
Well, you don't necessarily make it go, you manage it. One technique is just observation. Watch your thoughts like clouds passing, or like a movie. Don't engage, don't judge.
Just notice them.
Yeah. When you stop feeding them energy, clinging to them, the mind tends to quiet down.
Detachment. Okay, what else?
Well, if a thought does grab you, creates that emotional drama, acknowledge the feeling, then ask why. Why did that bother me? Not to solve the problem, but to understand the trigger.
Understand the pattern, not get lost in the story. Makes sense. Can I steer them too?
Definitely. Actively bring a better thought. If you're stuck on the negative, consciously replace it. Ask, what's good here? What's in the full half of the glass? Train that positivity muscle.
Actively countering the negativity. I like that.
And the last one is sensory flooding. Your brain can't really multitask perfectly, so focus hard on what you see, hear, smell right now, or internal sensations like your breath. Just observe.
Use up the bandwidth so there's less room for chatter?
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
It quiets the internal noise.
Okay, so the big takeaway here, and this is central to the 1-hour guide analysis of the book, is you are the observer, not the voice. Manage the thoughts, reduce the suffering, return to default happiness.
Exactly. And if you accept you're not your thoughts, the next question becomes, well, who are you then?
Which brings us to illusion number 2, the illusion of self. He uses that Russian doll analogy, right? Peeling back layers.
He does. And he gives us 2 tests to find the real you. First, the perception test. Simple logic. If you can observe something, you're not that thing.
I can observe my hand, so my hand isn't the core me. I can observe my thoughts.
So your thoughts aren't the core you. You are the observer, the subject, not the object being observed.
Okay, abstract but logical. What's the second test?
The permanence test. If something connected to you can change or disappear, but you are still there experiencing,
Yeah.
it's not the permanent you.
Like my job, my looks, even my relationships, they change, but I'm still here.
Precisely. So the conclusion is the real you is that observer, something non-physical maybe, and fundamentally untouched by physical losses.
Whoa. Big implications there, especially for loss. So what about the self we usually talk about? My personality, my identity?
That, he says, is the ego. Not ego as in arrogance necessarily, but the persona. The identity we build from childhood, being named, getting praise, good job, seeking approval.
We shift focus from who we are to the image we project.
Exactly. We get addicted to maintaining that image, getting that external validation.
And that's where the suffering sneaks in again, maintaining the image.
Yes. He uses that great enjoy the coffee analogy. Life, the actual experience, is the coffee.
And the cup.
That's the status, the possessions, the image. We get so focused on polishing the cup, worrying about the cup, that we forget to actually taste and enjoy the coffee. It creates stress.
And seeking approval for the cup, the persona, seems exhausting.
It's a losing battle. First, because everyone else is busy worrying about their own cup. They might even put yours down to feel better about theirs.
Ouch. True.
And second, even if they do approve, they're approving the persona, the mask, not the real you. So it feels hollow. Doesn't really satisfy the core self.
He contrasts this with Ali again, doesn't he?
Yeah. Ali apparently didn't play that game. He was just himself, unapologetically, took life at his own pace, had friends who loved the real Ali. What you see is what you get.
That takes courage.
It does. So the takeaway for the illusion of self: your true self is the observer, separate from the body, separate from the ego persona. Chasing approval for the persona is endless effort. Embrace the real you. Implement that self-acceptance.
Okay, thought, self. What's illusion number 3?
The illusion of knowledge. This one's about how little we actually know, despite often feeling very certain.
He talks about that DDAA loop. Discovery, debate, acceptance, then arrogance.
Followed by diminish, yeah. We think we've got it figured out, become arrogant in our certainty, then new data comes along, and whoops, we were wrong. It's a cycle.
And we really don't know much in the grand scheme of things.
Astonishingly little. Like 96% of the universe is dark matter energy. We haven't explored most of our oceans. We barely understand our own DNA, junk DNA, they used to call most of it. We're largely ignorant, collectively.
And even what we know is limited by language itself.
Absolutely. Words are just labels, mental boxes. Saying, mango doesn't give you the taste, the experience. And how do I know my blue is the same as your blue? Language can't perfectly capture reality.
His time at Google seems relevant here.
Hugely. He was surrounded by brilliant minds, constantly challenged, seeing data overturn assumptions. He said it taught him humility, and he found joy in just learning, not needing to be right.
That's a big shift because happiness doesn't require knowledge, right? We're happy by default. It's false knowledge that causes problems.
Often, yes. Being rigidly certain about something wrong sets you up for disappointment when reality hits. It creates bad expectations.
And this ties into life's nudges, things that seem bad but push us somewhere better.
Exactly. Like J.K. Rowling's delayed train leading to Harry Potter, events we label bad might just be course corrections.
The eraser test illustrates that, doesn't it?
Powerfully. Imagine erasing a past terrible event and all its consequences, good and bad. When you trace how it led you here, the good things that came after, would you really erase it?
Probably not, in many cases. Shows those bad things were maybe essential.
Right. So the takeaway for knowledge, be humble. Question your certainties, embrace lifelong learning, and try to see challenges not just as misfortune, but potential nudges. Implement that acceptance of the unknown.
Illusion 4 must be a big one for stress. Time.
Oh, the illusion of time. Huge stressor. Running out of it, wasting it, feeling it speed up. He argues this is largely illusory.
He mentions experiments like people isolated without clocks.
Yeah, showing our internal sense of time is pretty flexible, pretty arbitrary, without external cues.
And the key distinction is clock time versus brain time.
Crucial difference. Clock time. Practical, schedules, getting things done. Emotionally neutral. Brain time.
Yeah.
That's where we live in the past. Regrets, shame, or worry about the future, anxiety, boredom. That's the source of unhappiness.
So present moment emotions, unless it's physical pain, tend to be okay. It's thinking about past or future that hurts.
Generally, yes. Suffering comes from dwelling elsewhere. Even physics, like Einstein's relativity, suggests time isn't just a simple line. Space-time is a loaf of bread, all moments coexisting.
Mind-bending stuff, and life throws us left turns constantly.
Unexpected events, black swans, butterfly effects, they constantly alter our neat plans for the future.
Like his drive to work riddle. The clock time is fixed if you obey the limit.
But your experience, frustration, calm, joy, depends entirely on your attitude during that drive.
So attitude is the key lever here.
It's the game changer. Life deals bad hands sometimes. His advice, don't make a huge drama out of it. Nothing's truly lost unless you quit. He quotes Oscar Wilde. It's all going to be fine in the end. If it's not yet fine, then it is not yet the end.
That's a comforting thought, and this leads to committed acceptance.
Yes, do your absolute best. Plan, prepare, act with commitment in the present. But detach emotionally from the specific outcome. Accept whatever happens. Don't try to control the future beyond this moment's actions.
Implement focus on the present.
Exactly. The core insight for time. Most unhappiness is time travel in the mind. Stay present. Practice committed acceptance. Choose your attitude. That's powerful advice we explore in the 1 Hour Guide Deep Dive.
Powerful indeed. Next up, the illusion of fear.
He sees fear as the root of so many other negative emotions. Anxiety, frustration, envy, maybe even some forms of grief. It all comes back to fear.
And how is fear an illusion? It feels pretty real.
It feels real because it triggers that primal survival brain. The brain wants a safe model of the world, so it flags everything as a potential threat. This model is fear-based and almost never matches reality, leading to constant low-grade unhappiness.
So the brain is like an overzealous security guard seeing danger everywhere.
Pretty much. To cut through this, he offers 2 critical questions when fear grabs you. First, what's the worst that can happen?
Really play it out.
Realistically, yeah. What's the actual bottom line? Often you realize, okay, I could survive that. It makes the vague fear less powerful when you name it.
Makes sense. What's the second question?
What will happen if I do nothing? What's the price of not facing the fear? Staying stuck in a bad situation, never trying. Often the cost of inaction is way higher than facing the fear.
Those are really practical tools. He applied them himself, didn't he?
Definitely. Fear of failure at work. Gone when he was willing to walk away. Fear of death. He felt it vanished after Ali died, like he'd faced the ultimate loss already. Died before you die, as he puts it.
Wow. And he explains how this fear bias creates other mental distortions.
Yeah, a whole list. Assumptions, just brain stories, not truth. Predictions, possibilities, not facts. Memories filtered through past negativity. Labels simplifying reality, hiding truth. And emotions themselves exaggerating things, clouding judgment.
So fear warps our whole perception.
Fundamentally, the takeaway for fear, recognize it's mostly illusion, built on these distortions. Use the critical questions to challenge it directly. Understand the cost of inaction. Knowing how your brain is wired helps you see through the fog. Implement courage by questioning fear.
Okay, we're getting towards the end of the illusions. What about finding your path? Purpose versus goal.
Right. He makes a distinction. Goals are finite. Get a promotion, buy the house, check, done. Purpose is the ongoing journey, the direction.
That being only goal-driven leads back to that unsatisfying cycle.
Yeah, always chasing the next thing, missing the now. Finding your path is more about finding balance, equilibrium. Like a pendulum, it's easiest at the center point. The extremes take effort, are exhausting.
And comparison comes back in here.
Big time. Always a losing game. Someone always has more. He suggests aiming to be a better person, not just have more stuff, and consciously look down. Sometimes appreciate what you have. Don't just focus on what's missing. Remember, others hide their struggles too.
And then the illusion of design. This sounds deep.
It is, but he tackles it like an engineer using probability. He looks at the sheer unlikelihood of the universe's complexity arising from pure randomness.
Like monkeys typing Shakespeare.
Or dice rolling War and Peace, yeah. Protein folding complexity.
Mm.
He concludes, logically, not religiously, that there's a high probability of some underlying design or designer.
Not proof, but a logical inference.
Exactly. And the point for happiness is this. Accepting this possibility can bring peace. It helps you trust that events, even terrible ones, aren't just random cruelty aimed at you. They might be part of a larger, ordered system, unfolding according to its own equations or laws.
So the designer sets up the rules, but doesn't micromanage.
That seems to be his view. It lets you focus on your controllable part, the happiness equation managing your response, your expectations.
Okay, that makes sense. So the takeaway is find balance, your path, and consider that maybe there's an underlying order, which helps you accept things and focus on what you can control. This insight from the 1-hour guide framework helps implement acceptance.
Then we have the illusion of love, a crucial one. He draws a sharp line. Conditional love versus unconditional love.
Conditional love is based on conditions, expectations.
Right. Based on thoughts.
Yeah.
I love you if, or I love you because. It leads to suffering when conditions aren't met. Unconditional love is different. It's just felt. No thoughts, no conditions. Pure joy.
So conditional love is a mind thing. Unconditional is deeper, a state of being.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
He argues it's the only emotion not born from a thought. It's always there, underneath.
How do you cultivate that? Seems like it just is or it isn't.
It's a practice. He says, practice seeing past the masks, the ego, the fear, the thought-driven behavior in yourself and others. See the core humanity, the love underneath the snake-like defenses. Love everything, everyone.
Wow, that's a high bar.
It is, but it starts with self-love. Accepting yourself, flaws and all, appreciating your effort, not just the outcome. Counter that inner critic, maybe journal positive things, accept compliments.
Train the brain again.
Exactly. And finally, be kind. Giving unconditionally just feels good. It sparks reciprocity. Giving selflessly, especially to strangers, multiplies the good feeling. Remember that Harvard study? Spending on others made people happier.
Kindness pays dividends in happiness. So, the takeaway for love. True happiness is rooted in unconditional love. Cultivate it for yourself, others, the world. Give freely. Implement connection.
And that brings us to the final section. LIP, living in peace, which means facing death.
He doesn't shy away from it.
Not at all. Death is real, inevitable, a process starting at birth, not just one event.
And he busts some myths.
Yeah, that death is always unwelcome. Sometimes it's a release from suffering. That death itself is painful. The process of dying might be, but being dead isn't. That we can cheat death often. Trying just makes the end more painful and costly.
He uses analogies again. Physics, video games.
He does. Touches on physics, suggesting life isn't bound by simple linear time. But the video game analogy is maybe clearest. Your body is the avatar. The game has challenges, even avatar death. But the real you, the player holding the controller, unaffected.
Focus on the gameplay, the experience of living, not just winning or losing the avatar.
Precisely. And it all comes back to Ali, his wife's incredibly grounding question after Ali died. We'll bring Ali back.
Cuts through all the blame, the what-ifs.
Instantly. Focus them on the unchangeable reality.
And that led to another tool.
Yes. The question, is that true? Ask it of any thought causing suffering. Is this fear, this regret, this blame actually true? Or just a painful story my brain made up?
Such a simple, powerful filter. And Mo found peace by shifting his focus regarding Ali.
Yes. Instead of focusing on the loss, he focused on the immense joy of having had him for 21 years. Guests aren't meant to stay forever. Appreciate the time you had.
That's beautiful. And Ollie's tattoo.
The gravity of the battle means nothing to those at peace. A perfect encapsulation.
So the final takeaway. Facing death's reality brings peace. It doesn't hurt the real you. Challenge suffering thoughts with, is that true? Appreciate the past and present. Implement acceptance of mortality.
We've really dug deep into Mo Gawdat's Solve for Happy, looking at how these illusions thought, self, knowledge, time, fear, design, love create suffering, and how facing death brings peace.
And we've highlighted the practical techniques he offers, observing thoughts, asking key questions, committed acceptance, cultivating love, asking, is that true?
The core idea, as we've explored in this one-hour guide analysis, is that happiness is the default. It's about removing the obstacles our minds create through false expectations and these illusions.
Understanding the why of suffering, then using these engineered tools to dismantle it and get back to that baseline joy.
Exactly.
So, as you go about your day, maybe consider this. If suffering vanishes when the thought goes, and you're not that voice in your head, what thought are you holding on to right now that you could just observe, maybe challenge with, is that true? And simply let pass.
Thank you for joining us today on this deep dive with the One Hour Guide by Anil Nathu.
Buy the book at the One Hour Guide website for more business insights.